Oh, hi there. Welcome to the pod. I'm Dylan James Weaver, but most folks around here just call me Dylan. Why don't you get the whole family together and join us for another exciting episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we are back this week to talk about episode 885, Further from the Truth.
It's an episode that I listened to twice.
Hey, me too.
Hey, nice.
I listened to it once, and then I listened to it a second time on double speed.
Oh. You know, I've done that. The voices are different, and the interstitial music, like it's just
right.
Worse all around.
Yeah, but it's efficient.
True. I mean, it cuts a 25-minute show to 12:30, so there you go.
Wow, look at Andrew doing math.
On
Maybe
the
he
fly.
is the person behind all this.
Oh,
because
yes.
as we know, the villain is a math whiz.
Mm-hmm. He's a math whiz, and I am notoriously good at making plans and executing them.
Yeah, no, that's kind of like your main thing.
Yep. That's my presence. Dylan, what's the context for this episode?
Well, so as we established in the last one, we are keeping things to a minimum because we are terrified about spoiling ourselves.
Hashtag don't spoil the Rydell Saga.
Amen to that. So we don't have cast, which I think doesn't matter because I'm pretty sure we've talked about everyone who is in this episode before. Mm-hmm. But I could be wrong. Regardless, this episode released on the AIO Club on January 23rd of 2020. That's right. It came out this year.
Wow.
And it then aired on the radio April 11th of 2020.
Also,
you know, back when we
year.
thought the pandemic was like, we were like, wow, this thing's been going on for a month.
Mm-hmm. And then it just kept going.
And now it's November.
And we're still in it. And it's worse now than it ever was. That's fun.
I mean, depends on what metric you're going by. The death rate's lower than it had been.
What?
So,
yeah.
You know what, Andrew? We keep a little bit positive here on the Chalk Pod.
That's true. That is very on brand. A little bit positive.
Yeah. It's gonna be a struggle this episode.
We're like semi-sweet chocolate.
A little bit. I've got feelings. Okay.
I've got feelings as well.
It is the final track on album 68, Out of the Blue. Mm-hmm. The album that has, I think, definitively the worst artwork of any Odyssey album.
What even? Yeah. It's just, like, what? Can we explain it?
So I think that is this Penny, and she is standing in front of a blue screen doing, like, a weather report. But they don't understand how, like, hips work. And so she has the weirdest pose. Her waist is out of frame. And in the background, Connie and another woman are staring at the actuality with a grimace, and they're covering their face.
So it's not Penny. It's Penny's friend. Because I thought that this album art was weird, and like the thing that I do with Odyssey is when I see album artwork, I try and find what part of the what episode it's from, and then I listen to that episode, even if I've never listened to anything else on the album, which is what I did in this instance. And I vaguely remember what happened. I think it's her friend who's like been unemployed, but gets a job as a weather person.
Yeah,
kind of like the perpetually unemployed trope thing, and yeah, it just the art is very interesting.
The other problem I have with it, and I realize this isn't an episode on the artwork, and this isn't even related, but like her face is too lifelike.
No, yeah,
like, they've removed all the cartoon from this woman's face.
Yeah, no, we don't. No,
it's so weird. Anyways, so that's my
It
complaint.
seems that she has a growth, perhaps? Either that, Or this lady is actually built like one of the ants from A Bug's Life. Like, just
So-
thorax.
Yeah. So that is the context. Wait, I didn't say, though, very importantly, that this episode is written by Bob Hoose and Phil Lawler, directed by Phil Lawler.
That's...
Once again, passing no judgment.
No, nothing. I have absolutely nothing to say about this episode. Or
You know what I will pass your judgment on? The 91% it has.
Yeah, it seems a bit generous.
That's the problem, is all this stuff skews high.
It's true.
I get it.
But even in, like, what percentage of Odyssey is this? If the lowest percent is in the 80s, this is in the top half of Odyssey episodes, which means that half of the episodes are worse than this, and I don't believe that.
I mean, I could make... I don't think this episode is that bad. It is probably middle of the road.
Yeah. So, like, if this was actually graded, you'd give it, like, an 80? Maybe an 83?
Oh, if I'm, like, giving the... I don't know. I mean, it's a C. It's passing.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, it's not actively failing.
No, it passes. It just doesn't work for me. And we'll get into that.
That we will. What do we do before that? Promo.
We roll the promo.
Roll the promo.
Next time on Adventures in Odyssey, Maury notices a strange note in Emily's locker.
Is it a mystery? It is, isn't it? Oh, awesome.
Emily makes a quick connection.
The note is part of a poem by Guidi Freud Toy.
And when she finds the book in the library,
Well, what do you know?
Another note.
follow the clues with Emily and find out who's behind them. Next time on Adventures in Odyssey.
So look, I hate Maury.
Yeah.
There is no longer any part of me that is willing to give this child a chance. He sucks. And I'm not saying, like, as a person. I'm saying I don't like the character. It's not even like, oh, yes, he is a bad guy, but, like, he's well written. No, I think he is a poorly written and incredibly frustrating character, and he drives me up a wall, and I'm coming out hard against Maury.
How does that make you feel to have said that now?
He has this ridiculous, cheerful ignorance that just runs me up a wall.
Yeah.
And I'm not... Yeah. It's maybe unfair for me to say that he's not... I don't know that he's a poorly written character.
I don't know that he's a not poorly written
Right,
character.
that's the thing. I don't think he's super well written, but I think he is. I think some of it is he is being written in a way for us to hate him. But I also don't think. I don't know. Does the show want us to hate Maury?
I don't know.
I didn't think it did.
Yeah, and maybe this was made out to be something that it wasn't designed to be from the beginning, if that makes any sense.
Oh, you mean you think they Star Wars
they
sequel trilogy did this and just made it up as they went along and stuff doesn't quite add up? Yeah, no, I agree, Andrew.
Yeah.
You will find no disagreement here. What?
I don't know.
What? There was no plan.
I listened to this episode twice,
like-
and I still don't really fully understand what happened.
Yeah.
I can
and,
say that with confidence.
I get that stuff can, like, have no plan. And I'm so sorry to everyone who listens and hates it when we go negative. I don't know how to not at this point. Well, as we go through the episode, I'm sure there will be things that I think of in a positive light.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it is... Oh man, this saga is really...
Well, here's the thing. I think that we're
It's
spoiled.
really hurting me.
I think that we're spoiled. You know, Lawler wrote Blackguard. He's done that. We've covered it. What this is being compared to is are upper echelon of Odyssey, and of course it's falling in like the B to C category because
This is the thing. This is the
we've
first
only
time
ever covered really good stuff for the most part.
Not even that. This is the first time it's not just that this is the first time we're covering something we haven't heard. It is the first time we are covering something that we don't already love.
Yeah.
Like, we have never covered something that we were to bad on. Everything we've covered has been stuff that you and I, or at least me, because you hadn't heard Other Side of the Glass, but like having
Or most of the Twilight Zone episodes.
Right. But it's all stuff that, like, at least I have had a deep-seated love for, and that I, like, so it's not just that I'm going back to it with nostalgia, but I'm also have cherry-picked out the episodes to cover that I like the most.
Exactly.
And so now we're covering something that we hadn't heard, that we don't have any nostalgia for, nor do we have any real attachment to these characters just because we don't have the context around it. And I don't think it's that good.
Well, and here's my thing is that Parker for President and The Key Suspect and even The Secret of the Writer's Rooms, I enjoyed all the first three thoroughly. I was like, if this is what this is like, then awesome.
You listeners heard how much we loved those first two episodes especially.
Yeah.
Like, I was freaking out because I was like, man, I did not like the Sacrificial Escape the first time we heard it, but now I'm so excited. If this is what it's gonna be, just looking back at the cheerfulness that I went into this saga with because it kept blowing my mind with how good it was, and now we're here.
Yeah. So let's talk about the episode, and by that I mean roll the promo.
No, we already rolled the promo.
Oh, that's right.
I just came hot out of the promo hating Maury.
That's true. That's what we've done. Yes.
In the promo so much. So look, I will give this. I started off with a positive note about this episode, which was this episode starts out with Emily at the kitchen at Wit's End talking to Wit.
Yeah.
And Wit brings up that, oh, I haven't really seen you since the escape room incident. How have you been doing? And I was like, finally, this episode cares about the context of the other episodes. This makes me so happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Like,
They're talking about something in the past.
We finally have one that, like, references back.
Yeah. And I started out at a really strong note. I felt the exact same way where I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So,
right. And this is only 6 months. So I said, this is only 6 months after A Sacrificial Escape.
Yeah.
It is the next album. Mm-hmm. Like, it's essentially coming out as quickly after that as it could. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense.
Yeah, this is like a counter moves-esque feel to it, where it's like something happened and now we're talking directly about it, or pre counter moves. Wow, the Novacom saga is so long.
Yeah. 28 episodes, we talked about every one of them.
Yeah, and I don't know that I could ever cover them again, but man, I miss them.
Yeah, no. Oh, we could not cover them again.
No, that can't be done.
You guys heard last week us try and recover an episode.
Well, we weren't trying to recover it. I just was okay, we're just gonna talk about it and what we thought, and that's it.
Yep.
No sense in comprehensive coverage here. Well, as much as there ever is. Yeah, so yeah, again, this episode I felt like started out really strong, and this is when they're starting to, they name drop Detective Polehouse, is gonna get involved with it. And
he has been involved.
Oh, yeah, he's been involved, because didn't Wit call Detective Polehouse last episode?
Yes. We just heard him being like, I just got off the phone with Detective Polehouse.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah. And Detective Polehouse was in Green Ring, correct?
Correct. And it seems to be threaded throughout a lot of
New Odyssey, which I love.
He's a non-jokey Harlow Doyle.
Yeah. Well, and there was weren't there police officers before that were, reoccurring characters that weren't Harlow
Yeah, I
Doyle.
don't know that they were this reoccurring though.
No, he is a full-out character, like a tangential
right.
one, but
Like there were like Link Wainwrights in the past, but this man is a crying Brian Dern.
yeah, he is. The good old days, you know. Odyssey making fun of talk radio instead of this weird child manipulating all forces of good and evil, apparently.
Okay. So, yeah, they haven't made any progress on figuring out what went on there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Emily has been avoiding Matthew.
Yeah.
Full on, she says, she's fine on her own. He clearly doesn't want to be her partner, so she's just gonna do her own thing.
And it's like kind of bad acting in the sense that it's like it's very clear that like she's saying this from a place that is not what she's saying.
Oh, you mean like you can tell that she's lying?
Yes. That's those are the words that I'm looking for.
But
Thank
I don't
you
think
for-
that that's like the actor doing a bad job. That is Emily the character doing a bad job.
No, yeah, exactly. No. That's what I was talking about. I was talking
Okay.
about the character.
Just so we're clear. Then Maury rushes in.
Whoa.
Yay. He is
Because he's got soda on his shoes.
yeah,
Somebody
so
spilled
he
drinks.
tells Wit that like, hey, someone spilled drinks in the train room or whatever, and so Wit goes to do that, and Emily's like, oh, you spilled the soda, didn't you? And he's like, how'd you know? Gee whiz. And she's like, you
got
have
soda.
soda on your shoes. He's like, man, that's so cool. I love how you're like a detective and stuff. I'm so impressed by you, Emily.
I'm also playing
Can you hear the disdain in my voice, audience?
Yeah,
I think you
no.
can.
And then he's like, what? Like, oh, we need somebody smart like you on our team for a game of some sort.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to. He then he clumsily dumps ice cream all over her.
Yeah.
Well, she was eating ice cream and he knocks it and it falls over her and she goes into the kitchen to
What an
wash up.
absolute
So
klutz.
right. So she goes into the kitchen to wash up, which was all part of Maury's plan
Of course.
because when she goes into the kitchen, she gets Twilight zoned.
Yep. Yeah, she gets zooted. Essentially.
Yeah. So Maury got spilled the soda everywhere so that he could come. Knew Emily and Wit were down at the counter. Figured if he went down and told Wit that there was an accident, Wit would go up. At which point he would be alone with Emily and could then get her to go into the kitchen so that he could use a modified imagination station
Yep.
to send her into fake reality
Yep.
that is nearly indiscernibly so.
Yep. How?
Just so that, he could show her the good in people.
Yep. Because that's...
Because it all worked out for positive?
And the thing that I'm curious about is what about Maury does what representation of evil is he taking? Like, you shouldn't be involved on the internet because people will steal your informations and then make things for you to solve or what?
No, he's a... I don't know what more. Well, we know Maury's game is that he does bad things to make good things for good results.
Yeah, he views himself as something that is so bad that the only way for him to have fun is to make good people either be good or become bad. So it's just a win-win for him.
Right. He's like, either something good will come out of this, or I will prove that they're don't practice what they preach.
I think we figured him out.
Yeah, I wish we hadn't.
Honestly, I've thought that so many times covering this that connecting the Maury to Moriarty thing really kind of set us up to just be disappointed.
So we don't actually know at this point that she's been Twilight Zoned. That
No.
will all come later.
Yes.
What we know is that she is going into her locker,
Yep.
and that locker has been completely emptied out except for a note.
Yep. And she gets sent on like a scavenger hunt of sorts.
Right, so like the note is a poem.
Yeah, about
That's
asking
part of,
questions.
Yeah, and it's part of a poem that she used in an English report, and like Maury just is there and decides like he's gonna tag along with her. Mm-hmm. And so they go to the light. Like he kind of forces himself onto it, and also is like, "Oh, we should just get Suzu or Matthew," and she's like, "No." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm coming along." She's like, "No," and then he comes along.
Yeah.
Yeah. No means no, Maury.
No means no.
And so, gosh, this episode. I'm trying. I'm trying, people.
No, it's okay. It's just like, he's a not likable guy, really, in any way, and not even likable in the sense that, like, he's super well written or anything. Because I don't really feel like I know anything about him or, like, how he views the world. All I know is that he can be summed up in, like, those 3 lines of dialogue about doing things for the purpose of either proving that people are hypocrites or putting, good in the world. Like, who does that? Like, who in Focus on the Family's Eyes does that? Like, what is this man supposed to represent?
I don't know. I think that this arc, I feel like...
I think it's a Star Wars thing. I genuinely think it's a
Yeah,
Star Wars
no,
thing.
it is. It is. But I think that, weirdly, like, the episodes like this one, like the writer's ruse, that show the characters in the show making up a mystery for mystery's sake, is a really good encapsulation of this series.
Yes. Yeah.
Not to get, like, overly meta.
No,
but
no, it is. And I would like to say now that I am suspending disbelief that that this could get good. We believe in
I
it.
would love for this to conclude in something that makes me happy. You
Even
have
just a
no
little bit.
idea how badly I want that final 3. Because it's a 3-parter, so we
It's a
know they're
3-parter.
all going to be well connected to each other.
Yeah, we get 6.
So it
we get a
has-
full hour of Odyssey.
Yeah. So there's potential for it to work out. I am by no means throwing in the towel and saying I hate this series. So far, it is 2 definite hits, 2 like maybe hits, and then 2 misses. Like it's, yeah.
Well, and what would be accurately represented by something that is kind of being made up as it's going along.
Yeah.
And like
So-
not to say anything bad about Phil Aller or anything like that. It's just this is not it. And hopefully, I mean, the Blackguard series ended really, really well in a way that I really enjoyed. Maybe he pulls this one out, and I'm hoping because I don't know. I kind of liked Maury for a while, and I liked the series, and I'd like to see it end well.
Yeah.
Nobody likes being disappointed because it's disappointing, you know?
No, amen to that. So right. So they then, Maury and Emily go to the library. They find, they look up the rest of the poem or something. I don't remember. How do they get to the next note?
Okay.
Okay.
Does it have to do with... No, the note in the locker is later... It's like a clue in a book?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is they go to look up the full poem in a book, and then there's
Yeah.
a note there. We might be wrong. I don't care. I feel like that detail is not the important one. But if it is, tweet at us. So the next note has, like, 2 columns of words, and she does this thing with the previous poem where she's like, okay, well, the dude like was missing an arm, so we're gonna remove all the words in one column, and then we're gonna limit it to just the first letters of the words in the other column, and then we're gonna unscramble it, and then it's gonna say Matthew.
Yep. Great. Awesome.
Perfect. And
Cool.
then
I love it when they just solve puzzles.
and then it's the next day,
Yeah.
and Emily's walking to her locker. This is the problem with this episode on in a going through it thing, is all of the internal inconsistencies can just be explained by, well, yeah, it's an imagination station adventure.
Maybe that's the wisdom that Phil Lawler has.
Because the problem here is, so Emily went through an entire school day without any of her stuff and doesn't seem to care about the fact that she is missing everything from her locker.
Yeah.
And then
no, they
she
don't
shows
really
up
talk
the
about
next
that.
day and still doesn't have that stuff until...
And she doesn't know that she's in an imagination station type thing.
Right. So she went through a day without any of her stuff, and just like, it doesn't matter.
Augmented reality, augmented feelings, maybe? I don't know.
And so, so then...
But then Maury can make her feel, and I don't like that.
Maury shows up with Suzu, and they're like going through the clues, and Suzu's got some ideas, and Maury's like, see, didn't I tell you she's so smart?
Yeah.
It's almost like she knows what the note writer is thinking.
Yep.
Which is like
Proving that
so
she
did Suzu
loves
create the mystery?
No, I think that Maury created it and framed it on Suzu, but that's just me.
Interesting. The problem is, I don't care who created... Like, the question is, did Maury create the real mystery and have the Suzu character create it within the narrative?
No. I think that can't be.
So he's just setting it up to seem like it's Suzu when he says it's almost like she knows what the note writer is thinking.
Yes.
Interesting. I think I disagree.
Okay.
But
Hot take?
I mean,
We've
no,
been known to disagree.
We've talked about, like, I don't know, about the weirdness of, like, the Suzu, like, how much is she in it or whatnot.
Yeah.
And my hunch is that some of these ideas and this riddle stuff is, like, taken from Suzu's notebook, maybe without her knowing. We'll get into that at the end, because that's another weird thing. Man, this episode, it's too much Maury.
It's a
and
lot
I
of
realize
Maury.
the saga is named after him, but
Yeah. And Suzu.
I mean, no, it was Lee specifically named it after Maury. The Suzu thing's just a fun coincidence.
No, that's fair. You've done it. Yeah, okay. You're right.
So,
Boy. Oh boy. I can't wait to cover the Green Ring conspiracy.
yeah.
Not a
That'll
bad
be
time
fun
to talk
someday.
about that.
No, it's fine. We'll have a fun time when and if we do that.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe we don't make it through this series.
This is the first
We did our
one to
100th
beat us.
episode, and now it's 101, and we're just like, I don't think we can go on.
We've hit triple digits. It's just the burden is too much. Somebody's let the air out of the tires.
Oh my word. Okay. So.
And it's Maury. It's always been
yeah,
Maury.
It's always been Maury. Maury is secretly Blackguard and the chairman.
I mean, think about it. They started the Maury saga before we started the podcast.
What if, like what?
It's true.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't it
is.
start in 2016?
Yeah.
And we're 2018.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
2 years of build-up. We are all Maury's puppets. Clearly.
Truly.
We just don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Wad Fam Chalk Pod is all actually a ploy by Mori to, like, drum up interest in Odyssey and get people to subscribe to the AIO Club.
Yep.
Like, sure.
So he can steal all their information and, like, blackmail them and then get them to vote for whoever he wants or something. I don't know. He's going to leverage this into some sort of power. But only the kind of power he wants, which is over Emily Parker? I mean, Emily Jones?
So...
Memily?
So there's a... Right.
Or
they
eat
then-
you.
They then go through and they're like, okay, so Matthew and Olivia aren't at school today.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're homesick. But no one's answering their home phone because Suzu overheard that in the lobby. And, yeah, so...
Cool.
Yeah, and so Emily thinks that this is all, like, a plot for Matthew. Like, this is the weird thing where you were like, I think Mori's framing Suzu, because they are very clearly... He is very clearly framing Matthew. So if he is trying to frame Suzu framing Matthew, I think your theory is stupid.
That's fair.
I didn't mean that as aggressively as it came out.
No, it's okay. I mean...
That is my
what's-
problem with
No,
the idea.
My thing is thinking about Mori's character. I think that he set Suzu up to take the blame for him. If anything happens,
in
I
like
think
the
he's
long
kept her.
term. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
she is his security policy because people are just as likely to not trust her as they are to not trust him.
Yeah.
And she's been involved with it indisputably and proven a lot of talent because everything he's done has been like kind of behind the scenes that people don't know about, with the exception of The Secret of the Writer's Roost, which is where he admittedly just kind of gave away his bit, but you know.
Right, and he says so in the episode.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe he is setting up Suzu to take the fall. Interesting.
We'll find out in Rydell Revelations Part 1, 2, and 3. Are we going to get 3 different promos? Who's to know?
Who's to know? And so...
No.
So, right.
Who's on first? Sorry.
No, it's okay. So, right. So, no one's picking up at the house. The school called and Suzu overheard that. So she knows that, that they didn't actually call. And, yeah. Then Emily opens up her locker and all of her stuff's there. And there's a note that essentially just says to leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, the thing that they're trying to hide me from is Matthew. So the thing I've got to seek out is Matthew. So they skip school?
Yes. I mean, it's in the imagination station, so it doesn't matter.
So they skip school and go to Matthew and Olivia's house, the
Yep.
Parker homestead. And
Parker residence. Matthew speaking.
Fair enough. And but he can't answer the phone. Everything's just going to an answering machine. What's that?
Yeah.
His dad's old school. I love this episode. And so they get there. The door's unlocked. No one is home. They walk in. Mori is very excited about the idea that this could be a kidnapping. He's like, oh boy, that would be so cool if they got kidnapped.
Yeah, what the heck, bro?
And Suzu's like, really, buddy? And he's like, I mean, no. Am I convincing you I'm a good guy?
No, I think that in those moments, he's, I think he's playing the part of, I think he's playing dumb.
Right,
to
it's the
get-
cheerful ignorance.
Yeah,
That
to-
is Mori's character, and it drives me up a wall.
Yeah, to just be so happy to be there,
Right.
essentially, so
He's
he wins
just
the
the, like,
affection of
ultimate, like,
Emily.
oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Gee whiz, man. I just love being here. It's so cool that you can solve mysteries that I in no way have anything to do with. Isn't that the best?
Boy, we really be tearing apart this, like, 14-year-old child.
I know. I need to stop apologizing, but also I'm so sorry that this is where I'm at.
No, it's okay. It's funny.
So-
Just don't, yeah.
So the note in the second note in
I don't think either of us harbor that much genuine hatred. Oh, well, though you did come out pretty anti. I don't harbor that much genuine hatred.
No, like, it's fine. Like,
The views of Dylan Weaver do not reflect that of the Wad Fam Chalkpot. Finally, I got to say it!
It only took 101 episodes.
Yeah.
So the riddle from the locker had said something about, like, the place where Matthew does his thinking, and she's like, oh, he does most of his thinking on his computer, so they go to his computer. Also, Maury has to know so much in order to create this imagination station thing.
Yes.
Like, we don't
access to all
fully
the information.
understand how the imagination station works, but he may have had to, like, break into the Parker house? Because Emily knows what the house looks like.
Yeah.
So she's not going to be fooled by it just being some random house.
Yeah.
Like, I can't fully comprehend the amount of knowledge
Shenanigans
that it took here. And, like,
Maybe
he
we're
also...
just intimidated by Maury. Maybe we hate him so much because we're intimidated by his vast knowledge.
He also, like, would have had to have known that Matthew does most of his thinking on a computer, which I guess isn't, like, that big a leap, but he's still, like, weird.
He's the computer guy, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that is his...
Yeah. Right. No, I realize, but it's still, I don't know.
No,
It's
it's
weird.
true.
It's
hard
just,
to
it's
suspend
this
that
weird
much
thing
disbelief.
it's this weird thing where it's like no one knows Matthew better than Emily.
Maybe it's not
So
the
for
imagination
Maury
stations,
to-
but more a room of consequences thing where you kind of choose your own adventure.
Maybe.
I
But
could see him
that-
being able to, like, if there's...
I don't
if
think
we're
that adds up.
differentiating between software in the imaginary universe, there could be something where there is a sort of... if she knows what it looks like, it's going to show him or show her
Right.
what she knows
Right.
situation.
Yep,
And she
no.
has the ability to, like, imprint on it and not just play
I
through
can
it.
I can definitely get in behind that, like that it's some sort of like dream logic thing where like it's tapping into like her memory of the house to like build the model.
But this is not explained or... Yeah.
Maybe it will be next episode. Who knows?
But this
So-
saga, I have no way of knowing. There are 3
there's, like-
episodes.
Yeah. To tie up 6 that are barely tied together.
Yes. And so here's my thing. Are we going to be at the drama conference?
No.
the-
I think the drama conference doesn't matter.
Man.
I am coming out strong in support, and I would love to be proven wrong, but I truly think that drama conference has nothing to do with the rest of the show.
Well, to find out, stay tuned.
Yeah. Oh, I would love for that to be a clip that we could play back and be like, look at how stupid we were. We thought this series was going to be so bad, and it's actually great, and I love it.
Exactly.
It could
This
happen.
one just ain't it. Are we even done covering the episode, Dylan?
No! Oh my word, no.
So let's
I
keep
wish
going.
we were. So Maury, then there's like a math combo to get into the laptop, and Maury's like a math whiz, and Suzu does some like switching around, like removing the S from the word 6 and then swapping the I and the X so it's 11, which is a prime number. Like, it's one of those where it's like, the only way this riddle can be solved is that the people solving it know what this solution is,
Yes.
which I realize they do, but it's still ridiculous.
Well,
They
it just makes it less enjoyable. That's the
that
problem.
that points them to an answering machine where Eugene has left a message. We find out Eugene's a college professor, which I assume is actually canon and not just Imagination Station canon, and
No,
I
think
love
so.
that so much.
I love that for him. Can
Big
we get the
fan.
mustache back? Can we get mustache Eugene?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mustache Eugene
Oh, man.
2024.
Mustache, vest, bow ties.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to see, like, Campbell County College professor Eugene Meltzner.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like a business casual version of the architect in The Good Place. Michael.
If you
Anybody?
like that, tweet at Andrew.
Wait,
I
have
don't
you seen
get
The Good
the
Place?
No, we've
I
talked
thought
about.
you had.
Dude, we've talked about it. I'm pretty sure on air before.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So they call Eugene. So they go visit Eugene because he left the message.
Mm-hmm.
He explains that his phone was lost, but now is found. Suzu then asks Eugene, that's weird. Have you ever misplaced your phone before? And he's like, no. And I'm like, how is that relevant?
Yeah. No, it's not. It's just
Yep.
we're living in a matrix.
Yep. This episode is in the Matrix, and I hate it. Eugene, all of Eugene's photos are gone.
Yeah.
It's just like the Twilight Zone is fun because you can distance it from the actual reality of Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
Imagination Station episodes work because they have distance from the reality of Odyssey. This is an Imagination Station episode set in the reality of Odyssey, and it breaks everything.
Yeah. Have they even done this before?
I don't think so, but maybe.
I think is that the Room of Consequences? I'm not entirely sure what the Room of Consequences is, other than a room
I'm pretty
that
sure it's
shows
just
you
the Room of
consequence.
Consequence.
Yeah, it just shows you.
Yeah,
Oh, you're right.
I do think the Room of Consequence is kind of more of an AR sort of thing than a VR.
Yeah.
Like where it's showing you like an alternate version rather than a fully made up one. But regardless, Eugene doesn't back up his photos to iCloud or Google Photos. He backs them up to a server at Wit's End. So they go over to Wit's End.
Cool.
He restores the photos to his phone, and they're swiping through the photos, and there's a picture of Buck, who I guess is being fostered or adopted by Eugene and Katrina.
Yeah.
I haven't really been.
Yes, that is true. That is confirmed.
Okay.
He has been adopted, or
Oh,
he's
cool.
being fostered.
Oh, okay, cool.
With hopes of adoption. I think the adoption has happened in the show. I'm not sure, but yeah.
All right, cool. That's what I presume.
It's actually a very pleasant arc. Would be interested in talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds nice. That could be decent, like post Green Ring stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we don't have to do Ties of Bind.
Is that Green Ring Aftermath?
I mean, it's set in the time after Green Ring, before
That's
this.
fair.
So I'm just worried. So they are. So there's a picture of Buck and Matthew with Wit in the background, and they're like, oh, it looks like they're exchanging, and then Wit barges in, and he's like, it's an envelope. I have the envelope here for you. They were exchanging an envelope that I was supposed to give to you. So this whole plot was so that you could see the envelope that I was handing to, that Matthew was handing to me. But you also, if you had just come to me, I would have just given you the envelope and you wouldn't have had to go through all this. It's weird and convoluted, and I realize that's the point, but that doesn't make me any happier.
No, yeah, and again, exactly. It just feels like it's just mystery for mystery's sake, which is cool and all, but it doesn't make for compelling drama.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, great, there's a puzzle. Wow, I guess they're gonna solve it because they've solved all the other puzzles.
Yeah, and so they open up the envelope, and we find out that Matthew and his family are being held hostage, and he asks her to meet him at the Square One Club.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's her first confirmed club in Odyssey. But
It sounds like a nice club.
yeah, I'd go to the Square One.
Have you been to the Square One Cafe in Lancaster?
I have not, but I feel like I didn't know that exists.
It's a good coffee shop. Highly recommend it.
There you go. So at this point, in actually listening to it, I'm still like fully on board. I'm like, okay, I guess this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And then Emily is like, no, this isn't. This isn't real. Oh, and then Matthew's like, you're right, it's not real. And he steps out and is like, I set all this up so that you could prove this mystery so that you could solve a mystery on your own. And now we get to talk and make make things right. And I'm like, I'm so mad that they're doing this twice. I cannot believe they cannot sell me on this was all for Emily's own good. I'm just mad at this. And then we get the double reveal. Or I guess it's a triple reveal. Because the first reveal is that they're being held hostage. The second reveal is that Matthew set this all up. And the third reveal is that he didn't actually set this all up. It's all part of an imagination station program, which Emily's able to figure out when Whit misquotes scripture, and she notices that there wasn't another message on the answering machine, and a couple other weird things, and
she figures out she's in a matrix. Whoa. She outthought reality.
How were you feeling up until this point listening along?
Exhausted. I mean, to be completely honest with you, it was just like, I just feel like all these things are happening, and because of what's, like, who's doing it and the scenario, there's just no real consequences to anything, and so it just didn't, like, no part of it felt really important or investing. Only after the fact am I thinking about the fact that Maury seems to be both wanting Matthew, like, he wants to separate Matthew from Emily, correct?
I don't
Presumably
think so.
That's why he'd frame her. No, exactly, right? Because before that, it makes it sound like, especially if we're going with this whole Sherlock Moriarty thing, that if this is a Sherlock Holmes and Watson situation, he wants the both of them together at their best so he can beat them.
Right.
Or put good out in the world.
But in
that's
this
his character.
Right, but this episode is him trying to get them back together, not to solve a mystery together, like writer's ruse, but instead to, like, show, because you have to take Matthew's motivations as kind of being Maury's motivations.
Yeah.
Of, like, the Matthew that Maury has programmed is doing all of this so that Emily solves a mystery and the two of them, like, get to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so Maury has to also want them to reconcile, but also want Emily to be confident enough to do this on her own. Because Maury could have set up a non-mystery adventure where Matthew and Emily get to talk. But he needs Emily to know that she can solve one of these without Matthew. And also needs them to be on good terms.
So that he can ... what?
Win?
Life? I mean, he's like 14. How bad can his life be right now?
And then Emily is like,
I guess.
And then Emily's like, okay, I'm in a simulation, yells for it to end, it doesn't, and then she's like, oh, all right, there's been this thread of truth throughout the whole episode, and I guess I do have to tell you the truth, Matthew, and maybe that's what'll end this. Like, I do, miss not having you as a partner. I can't do this on my own.
Yep.
And then the imagination station ends. So she had an emotional breakdown to a bunch of pixels.
Yep. Yeah, he basically, manipulated her into, like, she used mystery therapy on him. He used mystery therapy on her.
Yeah.
To get her to confront her feelings towards Matthew virtually so she would do it in real life. Which, now that you say it, makes a lot of sense. It's just the nuts and bolts of how any of this is happening is
exhausting.
Yeah, and also poor Eugene. I feel like this guy is just doing it all. I mean, he's a teacher. He's a foster dad. He probably works and doing other things as well, and he's got to maintain his ukulele habit. So.
Yeah. So, So then Emily jumps out of it. We find that she's talking to Whit then. We find out only 10 minutes had passed. She wasn't in the imagination station. There was some version of a portable imagination station there, which is what Matthew and Eugene had. One of the things that Matthew and Eugene had removed from the workroom when they were cleaning it. I don't know. Actually, I'm kind of curious to know if the portable imagination station is a real thing or if that just showed up in this episode for the first time. So let us know if you know anything about that, because I think that's kind of interesting. And then she's like, I guess some good did come from the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. That's
Great.
Maury's thing. I don't think any good came from the bad, but, you know, you do you. So
I don't know. I don't have anything more to say about this episode.
So, right, Emily's like, so the person who did all this would have to have a good idea about computers and math, and Wit's like, yeah, and she's like, okay, I think I know who it is, and then we cut to Maury and Suzu talking.
Yep.
Maury sucks.
Yep. It
He
won't
finds-
tell Suzu anything.
Suzu's like, oh, this was all weird. I can't believe the thing seems so dark. Maury's like, I was probably Wit doing all this. And then Suzu can't find her notebook, and Maury finds it from behind her desk, which is shady AF. And then what? Then the notebook's in Japanese, and Maury's like, man, I wish I knew Japanese so that I could read your notebook. And you'll have to tell me sometime. It looks so cool.
There's no way I already know Japanese and have been stealing stuff from your notebook this entire time.
Okay, I'm glad that we are in full agreement on that, because, yep, that's exactly how I felt.
I don't know. I just assume that he has access to infinite information, because that's literally the only thing I know to be true about him.
Yeah.
Is that he has infinite resources and infinite information to be able to do whatever he wants at whatever time, because he's Moriarty.
Yep.
Cool.
And that's the episode. Andrew,
Yep.
do you have any other thoughts?
Stay home if you've got COVID. That's what I have to say.
The best,
Slow
the
the
best
spread.
plug.
My plug for the episode is social distancing and mask wearing, because this is miserable and I want it to be over. What about you? What do you gotta say?
Buy our shirts
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and other merch.
I mean, on a real note though, I actually, like, I've talked to a couple people this week who have reached out to me because of the show, and it's been really fun, and it's made my day in a way that's, like, kind of new and surprising, so, yeah, thanks, guys. Make me happy.
So yeah, there will be a link this week and every week from now until we stop making this show, to our merch store. So go there, support the pod, and get some cool stuff. We now have the designs up, that Michaela did. Most importantly, I think you can get your Eugene Google shirt in either the Dylan style or the Andrew.
The Andrew does look better just all around, in my opinion.
The Dylan style is so much cleaner. It is modern, and I love it. And I'm feeling ukulele.
And we're both feeling ukulele on this Saturday afternoon. We come together and we say, no, not politics, ukulele. And with that being said, we will return in a week to talk about episode 899, The Rydell Revelations, Part 1. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wadfam Chalk Pod is a presentation of Lidditz Podcast Co-op. Follow the podcast at Wadfam Chalk Pod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Further From the Truth was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wadfam Chalk Pod.